Happy Saturday, Wholesale to Million family. We're back with another subscriber first wholesale deal interview, and you guys are in for a treat because this one is a little unique. So I'm going to bring on our special guest. This is what we do. Is if you recently closed your first wholesale deal, email me at wholesale to millions with an S at gmail.com. Or you can DM me on Instagram at Khang, Khang dot like a period WTM. Would love to bring you onto the channel so you can share with everybody, right? The whole family, your stories and your first wholesale deal and how it was done. The reason why I'm doing all this is to help those of you who are starting out, haven't got your first wholesale deal, to help you, obviously, inspire, motivates, and pump you up and let you know that you too can do this, right? It's not just for the guru, or it's not just for the people that you hear that makes a bunch of money already, but you too can make this happen. So I'm going to bring on Rick from South Florida, closed his first wholesale deal for 15G. And you don't know what, and guess what he did to get his first wholesale deal? He biked for $1 because Rick didn't have a car. So, man, he really representing whatever it takes. Also, too, you guys, throughout this interview, if you find any value, please show me some love and let me know, and show Rick some support by either smashing that thumbs up or smash that thumbs down and let me know, man. Just give it to me like it is. Rick, welcome, man.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much, man, for taking your time, especially on the weekend, to jump on to do this with me, man. I really appreciate it.
No, it's great. As I say, this is the kind of thing that I would follow. I used to follow your first interview shows. I said, I'm going to be on that show one day, baby. I'm going to be on there one day. And, it was just one of those things where because of the repetition of seeing it, it's there. It'll happen. You just got to keep the process going.
Love it, Rick. I love it. I love it, man. And surprisingly enough, for those of you who who have followed the channel for a while, is that when people see these first wholesale deal interview, it's also a driver and their motivations, right, to get on, because listen, man, I mean, when my wife, when I was 18, and at that time we were struggling financially, and our whole goal was to make it in life. And I said, man, one day when I make it in life, man, I just want to share my story to the world, to inspire, to let them know that they too can do it. So you know what? And believe it or not, but the people that haven't got their first wholesale deal, this is one of their driver and one of their goals is to get onto the channel. So I love to have you onto the channel, man. Like I said, if you recently closed your first wholesale deal, go ahead and email me or DM me on Instagram. But let's rock and roll. Rick, share with everybody, man. First, I want you to kind of share with everybody your stories. Right? Give me the dirt. Give me the dirt of your whole stories, how you got into real estate, and then how you did your first wholesale deal, bro.
Okay. Well, real quick, I'm from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., Maryland suburban area, right near the University of Maryland. And got tired of cold weather and snow. About 15 years ago, my brother and I picked up one day in a snowstorm, got in a van, loaded the animals up, and just headed south, man. I didn't know we were coming to Miami. We didn't know where, but we were going to go south. See, I think I'd seen too many copies of Miami Vice. But hate to date myself there, but so bottom line is, we came down here, and for the last 15 years, we had a sales organization when we first moved here, but somebody made us a nice offer. We sold that, and we got into, I'd been a contractor in the past. So for probably the last 10 years, been doing a lot of contracting, and we had done some flips for other developers or other investors, but hadn't done any for ourselves. And just be honest with you, as I got older, I'm like, man, you see these shows, and I see yours, people on yours and some of the other ones. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm sorry my language there, but I'm going to figure out how to make this happen. The thing was, I didn't have any money. Okay, even though we had a contracting company, I had no excess cash flow with salaries and everything else. It was just no extra money. So when you talked about biking, I was sort of like, I actually, about a year ago, my brother and I had a tech startup. My brother still has it. And raising money in Miami wasn't quite what we thought it would be. It wasn't nearly as, I won't say easy, but it's hard. And so about a year ago, I started off and I said, okay, look, Pat, I mean, he's going to run the startup and I want to find another way to make some revenue. So I looked at some online things, but being that it had been a contractor and then I'd seen some of the shows and stuff out there, I said, I got to take a better look at this. And, I wasn't big on social media, and I'd followed a guy, God, what's his name? Cody Sperber. I don't know if you ever heard Clever Investor. And I saw him a bunch of posts on Instagram, and I was like, what is this guy doing? He's talking about wholesaling. So I said, let me get a little more into this because I understand real estate. I understand construction. I've done plenty of work. So I said, this is probably right up my alley. And it's a skill set I'm good with. So I started looking, but they're all, oh, you got to do direct mail and, you need this to start. And I'm like, I ain't got that to start. So as great as your content is, it doesn't help me right now. And so I started searching, through sort of YouTube University, if you want to call it. And I came across a guy that TTP, Brent Daniels, talk to people, right? So I said, this guy's right in my alley because I have a great skill set because I made a lot of money on the phone years ago selling legal plans to companies. And so, I mean, this was right in my sing set. So I said, okay, I'll start skip tracing. So I started biking for dollars. And the thing, like I said, didn't have a car and we live on an island. So I had to take a bus off the island. And then I got a bike, or rented a bike in Miami near the thing. And I started, and what I did was, starting this out, you get a lot of information, man. You try to process it all. Oh my God, how do you start? Where do you start? And I saw Max Maxwell once said, a good place to start if you're new is to go and find out where the most cash buyers are in your county, okay, or what zip codes have the most cash buyers. And he gave this formula to go do it. So the two zip codes were, the highest number of cash buyers were in the hood. I mean, really in the hood in Miami, okay? But they were up and coming. And so I got on my bike and I mapped it out and I started at the bottom of the zip code, back and forth, north, east to west, and all the way north, all the way to the top end of the zip codes. Came back, skip traced them all. Took a couple, like 6 weeks, 6 Saturdays to go do it all, the whole 2 zip codes. But I got every street. Then I came back and on my way back, to where I was, I had to go through another zip code, and I happened to see this house in a really nice neighborhood off Biscayne Boulevard, which is a really up-and-coming part of Miami. And this house was only 2 houses off the main street, and it was a board up. And I was like, I don't know, I got to copy this one down. This wasn't in my zip codes, but it's, it's in a really up-and-coming neighborhood, and I actually lost a house in that neighborhood a few months ago. I'll get into that. And so I put it on the skip trace list, and the guy lived in New York. So I started sending the guy handwritten mail letters, and the guy wouldn't respond. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep at it. Well, one night I was up watching YouTube, learning some stuff about wholesaling, and I saw a thing popped up on Trulia because I had these alerts, and it said, this house in this neighborhood you want just came up for sale. I was like, how's that? And it was the same house. It was the board up. And I was like, whoa, man. I says, I got to call this guy, okay, because I've been reaching out. So 8901 called the realtor. And I said, hey, man, look, dude, this is a house I want to look at today. He goes, great. Here's the code. Yeah, I went over and I looked at it. He called me that afternoon, says, you interested? I said, I'll make you an offer right there. We made an offer that evening to the guy. He says, okay, I think that's great. And so he asked $349. And I said, look, man, let's beat around the bush. I'm not going to pay $349. What do you got to have for it? What do you got to have? And he says, the guy's got to have $320. I said, well, I'll tell you what, it's such a good deal. I'll give you $330. The guy says, great. Okay. So I set some terms and I said, look, I want a 21-day inspection period, 30-day close, all this stuff. And I said a couple $100 deposit. And the guy goes, well, the deposit usually is bigger. And I was like, well, this is a commercial realtor because this is a commercial district and it was zoned commercial even though it was a residential property. And I was like, okay, how much we got to put up? He says, $2,000. Well, I didn't have $2,000 to put up. I says, okay, let's just put the contract. I'll figure it out. Let's do it. So we submit the contract. He calls me the next day and says, hey, man, he's got a competition. You got an offer from another guy. I was like, okay, what's the offer? I said, well, the other guy's willing to pay $327, but he's willing to pay less, but he's willing to put up a $10,000 deposit with 0-day inspection period. And I'm like, oh, wow. I said, that's, that's really a tough one. I said, how about a 3-day inspection period? And I said, I'll add 5 more thousand. So I'll make it $335. You give me a 3-day inspection period and we'll make it $10,000. Again, I didn't have $10,000, much less the $2,000 to put up on the property originally, right? But I figured an inspection period, if I get 3 days in that neighborhood, I could find somebody to buy it. okay, on a wholesale basis. And so that day, the guy said, okay, he agreed to it. And I got to tell you, it was a hilarious story. The guy ended up that I was bidding against was the guy that lived next door, okay, that owned the real estate office next door to this. So he had converted a single family house into a real estate office. He owned the parking lots next to that. He owned a commercial building on Biscayne Boulevard, and he owned the 2 multifamilies across the street. So he was like going to make this part of his little, group of houses and stuff. And I was like, but so the first day I get over there, I do the inspection, I do the inspection of the house. And I said, man, this is really bad shape. This is a board up. So I put out on all the channels, sent to my limited cash buyers list. I really didn't get anything. I was in the second day and I called a guy, an investor we know, that I do, our contracting company does a bunch of work for. I said, do you happen to know anybody who's looking for property off Biscayne Boulevard? I got a prime house here. I said, it's board up, so it's going to need a lot of work. The guy said, what's the address? And I gave him the address, and he called back like 5 minutes later, saying, can I go look at it today? I said, yeah. He went and looked at it, called me back, says, we want to buy it. I'm like, damn, great. Okay. So I said, he said, how much? Can we get it for $350? I said, yeah, you can get it for $350. I had it advertised for $360, but I said, yeah, you'll get it for $350. I said, but know that here's the terms, okay? There's a 0-day inspection period. I got $10,000 cash deposit tomorrow by 5 p.m., okay, or you lose the house. And the guy says, that's fine. I was like, great. So I sent them an assignment form. They signed off on it. Next morning, like 10 o'clock, the guy was at the bank. He already had wired the money to the place. So, that was the first deal. But keep in mind, this started last October when I started learning about this and driving for dollars. So this wasn't the first thing. I'd made 50 offers before that I didn't get jack on, okay, before I got to this deal. So it wasn't like, this came up out of nothing. I'd been making offers and learning the market, what to do, what not to do, where's the price line for my market, those particular zip codes, and even street to street price changes. So you had to be really good in the area where you're going to Buyout. And so I started becoming an expert in that neighborhood, but it took months and months and months to develop the expertise. So now I got some properties in the pipeline, so it's good. But that first one, boy, you said it before. You said it. When you get the check, it's real. And brother, when I got that check that day, I was like, boom. And actually what I had was another property. And when you saw the check, it said $12,000. But since I had another property, I just put under contract that they wanted a $3,000 deposit. Again, this isn't where I'm trying to go, but this just happened to come to me that had a real opportunity. So I took the same title company and I just said, hey, take 3,000 of it, apply it to the deposit for that other company and give you the balance, which is the 12. So it worked out good.
Rick, I want to say, man, congrats, dude.
Thanks.
Well done, bro. Well done, man. And I appreciate that you share with everybody kind of, hey, I started in October 2018. I didn't just start it yesterday or 3 days ago. So I'm glad that you made that clear. It took me 6 months, you guys, to do my first deal. So Rick, well done, man. So
Thank you.
So now my question for you is, so basically the property's vacant. You try to contact the seller by skip tracing. And what skip tracing service do you use?
I used batchskiptracing.com.
Okay. Yep. They're good. You used that. Okay.
And the reason I used it was because I just say this again, when I was getting started, you look at prices for skip tracing, it was anywhere from like some dirt cheap stuff, which you really couldn't count on. Mm-hmm. But the good stuff started about 18 cents a record up to like 40 or 50 cents a record. Well, again, I had limited cash flow here, so I had to keep the cost down. So I found a way to get a 50% off through batch skip tracing. So it was 18 cents a record. I was
Very nice, man. Very nice. Okay, so you skip trace, and were you able to get the whole? Were you able to get the whole of the owner, or no? No, right?
No, he never responded. So I sent him direct mail, and he never responded to that.
Gotcha. And then all of a sudden, he lists the property with an agent.
Yep. Which again, I just happened to be there at the right time and saw it when it came up that morning.
Gotcha. So basically, when you came up that morning, you came in and put in an offer at, I think 3:30.
Right.
And then the agent told you that, hey, you got a competition, another offer that came in at 3:27 with no days in inspection.
Right. 0 day and a $10,000 cash deposit. Non-refundable.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that was the other key, non-refundable. So, my risk there, again, is if I didn't come up with 10,000 in 3 days or somebody to sell it, you lose the house. Okay. But I had just knowing the neighborhood, and I'll tell you a quick story in a second about the other side of Biscayne Boulevard. But that was the neighborhood. It was just as a hot neighborhood. It's growing. Prices are skyrocketing in the neighborhood. And I figured I could sell it, and I did. So
Nice. Gotcha.
yeah, just
Gotcha.
happened to be my regular cash buyers list, though. It just happened to be somebody that I was saying, who else could I call? Who else could I call? And it was just one of those guys that we had done work for. He's an investor. They have about 90 rentals on the beach here. And so, somebody that has access to not only a lot of money, but he knows a lot of people. He just happened to know somebody.
Gotcha. Okay. So basically, so what you did, Rick, is to basically what you did to get the deal was you told the agent, hey, you know what? I can up my offer to 335, right? I can up my offer to 335. I need a 3 days inspections, and you go ahead and agree to the $10,000 earnest money, even though you don't have it.
Right.
So so there's going to be a lot of question that comes up. A lot of question is saying, well, in the agreement, it said you're going to put down the 10K and the earnest money. So how do you bypass that?
I said that's the 3 days. I had 3 days to make that. It had to go. We had as the $10,000 deposit was the same as the inspection period. So I had 3 days to pay that $10,000. And I said, okay. And that was sort of my catch there. I had to have, because I didn't have $10,000. So I had to find somebody, though. And they agreed to that.
Gotcha.
Because I was paying more. I was paying $7,000 or $8,000 more than the other guy anyway.
Gotcha. Nope. That makes sense. So now, how do you find your buyer again, Rick?
It was through one of the investors that my contracting company does work for, that represents a lot of investors from Italy. And like I said, his property management company manages about 98 properties or 90 properties here on the beach, rentals, the rehab rentals, cash flow cows for these guys down here. So I just happened to call him, and he says, I know somebody that owns a office building right on Biscayne Boulevard, 2 blocks away, and he's looking for other property in that neighborhood. A guy came over and saw it. And the funny thing was, originally, they were going to, the guy called me and says, hey, look, we want to look at the inside. So they went to the main unit and they walked through it. It was rough. Make no mistake, it was rough. And it had already had a code violation because the person living there before, instead of having a duplex in the front, made an illegal triplex. And the county caught them and made them stop. And so they had to tear this wall out, and nobody ever fixed it. But then the guy next door, you want to talk about the guy next door. Here's how bad this guy wanted the house next door. The day I was there, the first day I was there that I signed the contract, I went over and I put a for sale sign in the front, and I tied it to the fence in the front of the house. The guy called the owner in New York because the guy had the owner's name. He had his phone number even. And he called him, and the guy answered the phone. He said, hey, this guy's put a for sale sign out. He doesn't own the fucking house yet. Pardon my language. He doesn't own the house yet. Make him take it down. So then the realtor called. You got to take the sign down. I said, dude, but he doesn't have control. I got control for at least 3 days, okay? And I was getting ready to tell this guy next door, boy, but I said, okay, that's cool. We'll take it down. So then the next day, I send that buyer over there. Well, he gets in the front unit because it was on a lockbox, but we go to the back unit, and the key that was in the lockbox was supposed to open the back door. The guy sent somebody over, and they drilled out the locks, so you couldn't get into the back unit. Okay, so the guy calls me from there. The buyer's going, look, the doctor drilled out, dude, and he's showing me the picture, and he said the key doesn't work. And I was like, oh, man. And I'm thinking the whole time, man, this guy's going to say, I can't get in, I don't want it. And I was just like, dude, this is a real value. Look at the neighborhood. And the guy says, hey, man, I think we're just going to tear it down. But we want it. I was like, boom. So as soon as I said that, let's go, baby. I told him the terms. He said, great, we'll make the terms tomorrow morning. Send me the wire instructions. So.
Gotcha. Wow. So, okay. So, Rick, so this is not a single family home. It's a duplex.
Yeah, it was actually, 2 units. It was actually a duplex in the front and a 1-1 in the back. So it was 2 separate units.
Okay. So duplex in the front, and another unit's in the back.
Right, a separate 1-1 in the back.
Okay, now is it zoned for a duplex or a triplex?
Yes, duplex, only duplex.
Okay, so
only duplex or single family, but no triplex or quad.
Got it. Okay, so the property is listed with an agent, so there must be one of those agent posts. You know what I mean? The agent sign in front of the house.
No, there was not, because it came up that morning. The morning it was posted, the guy posted it at like midnight. I saw it at 1. I called him at 9. He'd just gotten out of bed, wasn't even in his office yet. So he hadn't had a chance to get there. And I said, I want to take a look at it that day. So he didn't even go put a sign up.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and then you end up putting, so once you sign the contract, you locked it up, you went ahead and put up a for sale sign. Now, so at this time, does the agent know you're trying to wholesale it now?
He asked me up front. See, that was one of the sticking points. And this is a great point here, guys. He did not want the owner did not want me to have a signability of the contract. Okay. And in the in the Florida state contract, line 77 says assignability, yes, no. And it talks about risk, whether you want to be free of the risk involved. And so I said, I've got to have that. This deal has to go with 77. If that's not checked, we got no deal. The guy said, great, and agreed to it. So, sorry, what was your question again? I got off track there.
No problem. So Rick, so does the agent know you're trying to wholesale this deal?
Yes. At the beginning, no. He thought I was going to buy it, but then I said to him, I said, look, dude, you just want it sold, right? He goes, yes, I want it sold. I said, great. Here's how you get it sold, okay? Sell it to me, okay? Sell it to me. So the guy just sort of said, okay, what do you want? What do you need from me? I just sort of convinced him I was his guy and that I could deliver and that I could get it closed as well, okay? Because that was the owner's concern, that because the house was in such crappy condition, and I wanted to have to take a reduced price, but then also that, there would be all these concerns about, we want reductions for price because of all the issues. There was already a board up. I knew what we were dealing with.
Gotcha. So you came in, Rick, with extreme confidence when you're talking to this agent that you convince him with your confidence, saying you're the guy that's going to get this deal done.
Yep, wow. Exactly. Yeah, and I got to tell you, it wouldn't have been in October. That sure as hell wouldn't have been the case, okay? But listening to you and some of the other guys, and then you keep practicing, you keep making offers, you keep talking to people, you get a little more skilled, you learn a little here, you learn a little there, you learn how to listen to people better, to what they say, instead of always talking to talk, you talk to listen, so that you hear what they got to say. It makes the sales a lot easier.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. Got it. So now after you put up the sign, after you put up that for sale sign, the agent got a call from the seller. Now he knows you're trying to wholesale it.
Yep. But since they already signed the contract and the agent knew it, he just said, hey, man, don't worry about it. My guy's going to close. And that's what he told the owner. Don't worry about it, whether the sign's in the yard or not. And he was going, but I don't want to hear from this next door neighbor. He keeps calling me, man, like every hour. He keeps calling me, the sign's still up, the sign's still up. So he says, just tell him to take the damn sign down, man, okay? Till we get the deposit, okay? Until at least the deposit's made and I know you're serious about it. Because I can't imagine you'd walk away from a $10,000 cash deposit. I said, you're right. So he said, okay, let's just get that done, and then we're good. So I said, okay, time's on my hand. I got like 48 hours to find a buyer here, man, that's willing to,
Gotcha. Unbelievable, man. Got it. So I completely understand now. Okay, so what's the ARV on the house or on the property?
If it would have, you would have had to put about $125,000 into it, okay? But it would have been worth between $550 and $570. In that neighborhood, with the prices going up quickly. And if he wanted to take, and let's say he put that in and he wanted to take and hold it for a little while and rent it out if he wanted to, he could have gotten $4,000 in rent from those 3 units up there easily. Okay, if not more, $4,500 a month. So it would have certainly covered itself, and it would have been a cash cow. But right now, he's decided. He called me yesterday. As a matter of fact, this morning I saw this guy Alessandro, the guy that runs the management company. I talked to him this morning, and he said that, oh yeah, we were over there, had our contractor over there, and we were looking at, talking about tearing it down, and an inspector drove by, and he says, you can't rehab this, man. This is got a bad roof. It's got this, all this. The foundation's all messed up. So you're going to have to tear it down. Guys, that's all right. We brought it for land value, honey. I'm not mad. So a guy called me, just came by his house today and said, he's dropping a check off or something up. He says, good job then, man. We're really happy with the property. It's great. So.
Wow. So so the buyer's going to scrape it.
Yeah.
So he's paying, so he's paying $350 just for the land value.
Yes. If that's not amazing.
Wow. Now, Rick,
as I say, go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. So now here's my question for you: is that what is the buyer planning to do with this property?
He's going to take and put now, from what I understand this morning, they're going to put a new small like office space there, but they're going to make it like, and you can be zoned. They get up to 3 floors there, and he's going to put it on the full lot. And so it's something where they're not going to have any parking on it, but it's going to be able to take it. It'll be new space and be able to rent it out because that quarter's really building up there, but it'll be commercial rental space.
I see. Gotcha. So it'll be a commercial rental space for office space.
Right.
3 floor.
Yeah.
Do you know how many units? Just 3?
No, we don't. He hasn't shared any of that with me yet. They were just talking about that before, that was their option to do, even though we didn't get into what they were going to do with it.
Sure. Gotcha. And you guys, for those of you who's listening, I'm asking these questions because I want you guys to understand that there's different types of buyers out there. All right. Different types of buyer, which mean there's buyers that go with the 30% rules. There's buyers that willing to pay you as high as 25%, 20%. So you get all type of buyers. You just have to keep your mind open. And a lot of times another thing I want to let you know is sometimes you do have a deal, but you haven't hustled enough or built up your cash buyer enough that you just haven't found the right buyer for that deal. And let me share with you what I mean is that, see, this buyer look at this property, maybe for the people, whoever's going to buy, fix, and flip this property. Let me share something with you. So if the property ARV is 550, if you take 550 minus 30%, that puts you at 385 already. All right. And Rick said the estimated rehab cost would have been 125. So for the buyers that's going to buy this and fix and flip it, if that's all they see in it, they're not going to buy this. All right. Even at 550, even at 575 minus 30%, you already at 400,000 minus 125. You're already way lower than what Rick got a lock on the contract at. So what Rick was able to do was he's able to connect with a buyer that sees more a potential in this deal. And that's how he got this deal done, because this buyer see the potential, what he can do to this property to basically maximize the property value, right? So that's
absolutely.
So I'm sharing with you guys is that keep your mind open, and this is going to be, you guys, this is going to be over time. So the experience and everything like that, it's going to be over time. So you're going to lose on deals where you don't see the potential versus, other wholesaler or investor that sees a potential in the deals and that they lock it up on a contract even way higher than your price, but you don't understand why, right? I get it all the time. You don't understand why, but they're able to end up wholesaling the deal because they have a certain network of buyers in their pocket and the potential that they see, so they can pitch it to their investor. So I just want you to be open to that. And eventually, as you are going at this, you're going to understand your market more. You're going to understand your buyer more, and you're going to see the potential that you haven't seen before. I just want you to keep an open mind and not sticking with the 30%. Oh, I got to lock it up on the 30% rules, because that's because everybody taught that, right? So anyways, I just want to give you guys, keep your mind open to that. So Rick, that's pretty much the whole story. So those of you who have any questions, comment below any question you have, and Rick and I will try to answer it to the best that we can.
Can I throw something else out to you?
Rick.
Something that I think might help some new people, which has helped me, but it took a learning period to do it. I've seen plenty of people say, make offers on everything, make offers on everything. And while, yes, in certain areas that is true, in certain areas like where I'm talking about these 2 particular zip codes in Miami, there's a lot of board-ups. A lot of them need major work. And there's not enough contractors, I do not believe, or flippers that are willing to undertake some of the work because it's so extensive. You're almost looking at having to tear the house down. And so in our area, when you look at your property and sort of know what your market, and like you're saying, your cash buyer's looking for, don't market a piece of garbage. It's going to require $100,000 in rehab if the guy only likes minor rehab work. or doesn't want to spend more than $30,000 on rehab. That's not going to be that cash buyer. So I've started to look to try to find what the cash buyers want, and then looking for materials. But now, as we're going out and we're expanding, I've got some money now, so I'm spending money on marketing. Okay, so I bought the inheritance list, and I'm starting to cold call those and mail those out this week. And so that is the progress. But now that you have some money, you can do some of those things. But certainly, my point was going to be, when you look at houses, make sure it's a property that, like I said, that if you're comfortable with finding those buyers that love the down to the bones, that's great. But they're few and far between. Not every guy that flips likes to do that. There's more of them that like to do it and do some cosmetic, pretty stuff, 20 or 30,000. I'm out the door. I make some money. They're happy with that type of stuff. So just be careful with the stuff you bid on, because you might not find a buyer for it unless you do a good job, like Khang was saying, finding cash buyers.
Yep. No, that is absolutely 100% correct. So basically, well, like I said, there's different varieties of buyers out there, right? Ones that don't want to take a lot of risk, ones that's willing to take a lot of risk, ones that, hey, I don't care as long as the number makes sense. When I was fixing and flipping, that's exactly me. I don't care, man. I said, as long as the number makes sense, I'm going to take it on. So, I mean, I've bought a house where we strip it down to the stud, we jack the house up, we pour a new foundation and everything like that, and it was a nightmare. But
it is.
But there are buyers out there that was not willing to take that risk. Just like Rick said, there's buyers out there that, hey, I only want to do a 20,000 or 30,000. I want to go in there, click it up, paint it. I just want cosmetic, right? I'm not going to take on anything major. So, you got, as you are in this business, you got to continue. You can't just settle. You got to continue growing your buyers list, and ask them if their criteria, what they want, etc. So that way you can put, when you come and deal, you can send it out to them. Now, Rick, I want to ask you this question, man, is how did you come across my channel, and when did you come across my channel, man?
Gosh, it was probably about 4 months ago. I had been in this about 2 months, and I was on YouTube looking at stuff, looking for wholesaling. And most of the things I found I was looking for was related to calls. And I saw you doing cold calling people. And I said, let me watch this guy. And I started watching, I said, dude, this is hot, man. This is what everybody else is missing. Okay, meaning all the other guys are great, and the content they put's great, but nobody shows you how to do it but you. Okay, and so I sat and watched you, and I was sort of mesmerized sitting there watching you talk to the people and how you handled them with objections, because people that have never done it don't understand the value that you bring there. They have no clue. They need to watch this like 100 hours straight of you doing this, and they'll have a really good idea how to work with people. But that's exactly, I started watching, and I started following you on Instagram, and that was like, so I see all your stuff, I follow you. And so it was one of those things where you were one of the guys that, like I said, phone, you're proactive, you're really relatable to people. You're one of the guys that seems like you really come from the heart. I know some guys are just out there selling their product, every other word, buy my product, I like your honesty, and I like you're a down-to-earth kind of guy, man. Really attracted to the message.
Rick, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the kind word, man. I truly do. So the thing is, what Rick said, it's just like when I first started, man. The content that I put out it's what I was seeking for when I first started. When I first started, just like Rick said, online you find people teach you, find cash buyer, find motivated seller. They find a new way, like the systems and all of that. But not a whole lot of people talking about, hey, how do you need to talk to seller? Because when you first start out, you don't know how to sell yourself, or you don't know how to pitch, or you don't know anything like how to talk to them, how to control the phone, how to negotiate. Like, you don't know any of that. And trust me, when you don't know, it's a lot harder to convert these leads actually into deals. That's why it took me 6 months. And believe it or not, even after 6 months, my first deal wasn't even through directly with the seller. It was actually through an agent. But talk, like, you guys got to understand that. Put some time aside to learn how to talk to seller. All right. Learn how to talk to seller, because it's super important, extremely important.
Absolutely. I'll tell you a real quick story. This related, what you just said there sort of reminded me when like 40 years ago, I got in the insurance business, and the guy said, and they gave you leads. And I said, oh, what do you get for training? He goes, here's your training. Hit the lead, call them, go out and see them. I said, what do I say? You'll figure it out. I said, but how do I read the rate book? You'll figure it out. Damn, man. So going into wholesaling, not knowing what to do, what to say it, how to talk to people, or any of the other things, man, that's why your content is so valuable, because it helps people see both sides of the coin. You know, you can read something and read what somebody says, but then when you here's what they said, here's how it handled, here's the objection, all that stuff is critical. If you want to make big money here, dude, that's the kind of skills you got to develop.
Yep. I absolutely agree, man. Absolutely agree. So for those of you who's new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for, man? Smash that
Amen to that.
Join the family. Let's take your life, your business to a whole nother level. And if you haven't joined me on my live cold call role play, we do it every single Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard. Absolutely. I have so much fun with it. Bring you guys on cold calling. We just did a last cold call where we cold call for sale by owner. And you guys seem to really like it a lot. So anyways, if you find any value throughout this video, please show our guest Rick some love. Smash that thumbs up. If you don't, if you find no value, give it to me. Smash the thumbs down. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. So now, Rick, how do people connect with you, man?
You got, I'm on Instagram, Rick, R-I-C-K, Corbett, C-O-R-B-E-T-T-J-R. And that's whether that's, I guess, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm not on much on Facebook. I'm not, again, I guess I'm just that generation. I'm not big on Facebook, okay? But, or you can email me, rickcorbettjr@gmail.com.
Awesome. And the thing is, you guys, I'll make sure I put, so Rick, if you can just text me or DM me over all the link, I'll put in the description for those of you who want to reach out and connect with Rick. Rick, last word so we can wrap this up, man. Inspiration, motivation, tips, whatever you want to. Last word. Wrap this up for those that's starting out.
Your income will be directly related to the skills you develop that drive revenue in this business. If nothing else matters, the skills you develop will determine how much money you make, okay? You can't skate along the top here. You can make chump money. But if you want to make big money here, guys, like Khang and all the other guys out here, you need to learn the skills. The better skills you got, the more money you'll make.
Well said,
and once you learn them, it's priceless. I mean, it's like, once you learn them, but it takes a little time. So don't expect it to happen overnight. Years ago, we used to have a sales company, and this one girl, I said to her, you ought to read books. She goes, I don't like reading books. I said, you ought to read. So I said, read, think, and grow rich, right? So she calls me the next day and says, I read 6 pages and nothing happened. And I was like, come on, man, are you kidding me?
Really?
So
you should have said, come on, man. 6 pages? Come on.
And nothing happened. That's when I said, okay, see, I see people see things differently. Okay, so you have to explain to people. But the bottom line, your skills are everything in this business, man.
I agree, man.
That's why I follow guys like you.
No, I agree, Rick. Skills is what pays the bills, man.
Amen,
the
baby.
skills is also the things that get you those high ticket of toy as well.
Absolutely. That's the long-term goal in scaling. This is a business, because let me say this, for those of you that want to make good money, that's great. This is an outstanding business. But for those of you that understand the value of scaling, okay, and how this wholesaling, okay, and even flipping to a point is scalable virtually anywhere in the country, is absolutely mind-boggling, to be honest with you, the potential of this. And you see some of the guys out there right now, the guys are making like, Sal and what's his name, making like $750,000 a month, man. Come on, man, we ain't talking about no chump change there.
Yeah, man, I know. It's like, I thought that I was doing good, and until that I talked to these guys, right now we're pumping out about $250 a month, and then when I hear these guys are doing $500,000 to like over $500,000 a month, and that's why we're in the mastermind, right? So we pay about $20,000 to go through these masterminds, and
right.
These guys in there, it's like they're at like the $500,000 mark or $1 million mark where we want it to be. And a lot of times the only way for you, shorten up your learning curve and shortening up your shortcut is by hanging out and getting the knowledge from the people that are already at where you want it to be, because they can share with you the tips, the tricks, the strategies, connections, what I mean, to get you there a lot quicker, because you can spend the time to figure out to learn it. It's just going to take you a while to get there. It's like a GPS, right? You go in your car, you punch in the GPS will tell you exactly how to get there. And that's why people get mentored. They go into mastermind. So now, so that leads me into this. For those of you right now, I'm doing, it's what's called the 5K Masterclass, the King Kong 5K Masterclass, where we meet one time a month on Zoom for 12 months. It's a one-time payment of $5,000 up front. And it's a one time a month where we go in there, and basically what I do is I dissect your business, where you're at, figure out where you're at to get to where you want it to be, sharing with you tips, tricks, strategies, connections, information, and all of that. If that's something you're interested in, and I don't want those of you that's interested, I want the one that say, Khang, I am ready, I am committed. Understand that this ain't going to be easy, but you're ready to make the commitment to take your life, your business to the next level. And I want to spend 12 months with you, man. So if that's something is for you, email me at wholesale to millions. Link it's in the description, wholesale to million, with your full name. And then in the subtitle, just put 5K Masterclass. Rick, I want to say thank you so much, man. I truly appreciate it. Thanks a lot for your valuable time and jump on, man. And I wish you a lot more success, bro.
I wish you appreciate everything. I appreciate the invite being on. And I promise you, I will see you at some of those master classes in the real near future, brother. I will be meeting you because I was going to say that's one of the goals is to work with people I want to be like. I want to be like you, man. So we'll see you soon.
Love it, Rick. Thank you for the kind word. You guys take care. Have a great day.